Thank you for the opportunity to share a small snapshot of our findings today. This study arose from a concern that the lockdown was adversely affecting daily wage earners across India, including farmers, who get up to 1/3 of their income from wages. Moreover, there was anecdotal evidence early on in the lockdown that farmers were not able to access markets and weren't able to sell their products for a profit because of the demand bottoming out. Because rural households, even farming households in India, primarily purchase their food, we were concerned that if these households had any drop in income, they would face severe food insecurity. So our aim was to longitudinally assess the impact of the lockdown on food security and dietary diversity among rural farmers. To achieve this aim, we conducted phone interview surveys of farmers across 12 states in May, with follow-up calls in June and again in August, finishing up just a couple weeks ago. The initial list of farmers was contacted via pre-existing network of CSOs, and the sample was expanded via snowball sample, meaning that we asked respondents to share contact details for up to 4 additional farmers. Food security was assessed using 3 questions from the FAO Food Insecurity Experience Scale, and diversity was assessed using a non-quantitative food frequency questionnaire adapted from the minimum dietary diversity score for women, though we also applied the score to male respondents. While we demonstrated the feasibility of collecting timely information in the midst of a national lockdown, this approach inherently only reaches those who have a phone and network coverage. This meant that we did not reach a large number of especially vulnerable populations, including women and agri-laborers. Moreover, phone surveys are more susceptible to participants losing focus or dropping off before completion, and so we tried to really keep this survey succinct. And this precluded our ability to ask in-depth questions about certain aspects of the outcomes of interest, for example, portion size. So our response rate to the baseline survey was 78%, resulting in a sample size of nearly 1,500 farmers. The vast majority of respondents were men, and our sample was younger and had a higher education as compared to the average farmer in India. Not unexpectedly, we saw huge declines in income among wage-earning households. And with regards to food insecurity, even among medium-sized farmers, 1 in 4 was worried about running out of food, and the numbers were even worse for small and marginal and landless farmers. For the more severe forms of food insecurity experience, skipping meals and going an entire day without eating, landless farmers were at substantially increased risk. But overall, these proportions are relatively low, especially compared to stranded migrant workers in urban areas. This could reflect underreporting, given the sensitivity of this topic, or the fact that a majority of landless farmers received extra food rations. Or it could also mean that community sharing is happening, or home consumption of agricultural products that could not be sold in markets. Of note, looking at follow-up surveys, we did not find that food insecurity has worsened over time in this particular cohort. Finally, with regards to dietary diversity at baseline, more than 75% of all farmers, regardless of size, reported consuming grains, pulses, and vegetables in the past week. And more than 50% reported consuming dairy and potatoes. However, intake of other nutrient-dense foods, especially fruit and eggs as shown here, was quite low. In sum, our findings suggest that the PDS has largely been effective in these rural areas. However, it could be strengthened by diversifying the foods offered. For example, integrating livestock products such as milk and eggs, and vegetables that would otherwise be wasted. And it could also be expanded to include newly vulnerable groups who have lost wages due to the lockdown. In closing, I want to take a moment to express our sincere gratitude to the farmers who kindly donated their time in responding to the survey, the many CSOs who helped us contact these farmers, and our enumerators, without whom this study would not have been possible. I look forward to your feedback and questions on this work.